And welcome into the preview Thursday edition of the Bleav Carolina Panthers podcast. I'm your host, Desmond Johnson, joined by Panthers all-time leading rusher, Jonathan Stewart. Schuyler Callahan, conspicuous by his absence. This is his wedding week. This is the beginning of his wedding week. He's getting married to his lovely fiance. So he'll be out this episode and through next week as he'll be on his honeymoon. Schuyler scheduled his wedding in Stokesdale on the same day of the greatest homecoming on earth, A&T homecoming going on the same day as the wedding, because me and my wife were invited to it a couple months back. I didn't realize the date was exact one until like a couple of weeks ago. I was like, dang, I can't do it because I produce A&T football. So shout out to our boy Schuyler. I'm sure him and his lovely bride will have a wonderful weekend. This upcoming weekend, the Carolina Panthers will try to get to their third win of the season by taking on divisional foe Atlanta. This is a 1 o'clock kickoff. We'll get you a preview for that. We're doing open mailbag today. So if you're listening or watching the show on Facebook Watch or on YouTube, you can actually participate in the show today. Give us your questions. If you ever want to ask J-Stew a question about something, if you ever want to ask me a question about something, if you want to put your opinion out there about what the team is doing right now, definitely chime in. You can just type it in the comment section on our Facebook Watch video of this, or on the YouTube channel on Tobacco Road Sports Radio's YouTube channels where this is parked live. Before we get into everything else, and of course it's Thursday, so if it's Thursday, everybody, you all know what it is, what we're going to be doing. So I don't even have to say it. We'll just get to that in a minute. But before we do that, let me hit you off with our sponsors over at Bet Online. Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports, contests, and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information, from live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join today. Make your first sports bet. Use our promo code Bleav, BLEAV, to receive your 50% bonus. And BetOnline is where the game starts. And typically where we start on a Thursday is we've done since the seasons began, is basically we go around and we tell you what we're mad about during this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why we mad, son.
And it could be anything football related. Doesn't have to necessarily be Panther related, but typically it is. So we usually kick off our Thursday episodes with that. If you've got questions, if there's ever been something you wanted to ask J-Stew, if you've ever wanted to chime in on one of these types of things, here's your shot. Shoot your shot. Give us your question. We'll answer it during the show. And, of course, we'll give you our predictions and previews for Panthers versus Falcons, 1 p.m. kickoff this Sunday on Fox. Stu, I'm going to let you hit us off here. A lot to go through in terms of what could have potentially made this segment this week. I think I have in my head where I want to go. Tell them folks why you mad, son.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you why we mad, son.
Well. Anytime I get a chance to talk about these Broncos, I'm going to do it.
Oh, they made it again. Oh, no.
So,
hey, this is like, what week are we in? This is week 8, I guess.
Yeah.
They've probably made this segment half of the season.
Yeah, man. Listen, I don't know who in the organization of the Denver Broncos playing situation. I don't know who to hold responsible for this. But Russell Wilson told the world yesterday that he spent hours working out on the airplane. Why would you allow this man to be on the airplane, first of all, doing high knees, jumping jacks, whatever it is that he's doing? That plane should not be like, you should be in your seat, first of all. If I got a teammate on a chartered plane up there doing all this activity, bouncing around, like, how are you going to even sleep on the plane?
It's going to make me nervous.
It's making me nervous. Like, you could throw the plane off. Maybe the plane starts, using one side of the engine because using one side of the engine harder than the other side because you over there on the other side jumping up and down.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you putting our life in danger. So I'm mad about the fact that Russell Wilson was being extra yesterday. I love Russell Wilson. I love him as a competitor. I love his determination. I love his spirit, his positivity, everything that he brings to the table, in the National Football League. But he went too far with this one. Ain't no way I'm working out on no plane. I'll get treatment, ice up, little whatever, get a massage and all that.
I'm stepping like to your chest up and down the
Yeah,
aisle
man, what's
for an
going
hour.
on? Like somebody needs to be held responsible for this this behavior.
I've I heard this today too, and I was like, I wonder how his teammates are responding to this
Yeah,
because
man.
it feels like they're going to come back from London without their head coach. Like if they
Right.
lose that football game, because it almost is like because you can't get rid of Russell. You just gave him almost $250 million. Like he ain't going nowhere. If anything, everyone else is going to go someplace, and Russell's there for a little bit. Nathaniel Hackett, the head coach, he feels like he's in over his head, or they didn't know what they were getting when they got Russell Wilson. Like they've never watched him play because they're doing other stuff with him that he's just not known for. And I'll throw Russell in there a little bit too, because the way he said it to the press, it was almost like he was bragging. Like while my teammates were asleep, I was putting in work. I was doing this thing. I was getting myself ready.
No, while you was out there doing all that work, you still hurt. You should be sitting your butt down on an airplane and going to sleep.
So like, I don't know what they're doing in Denver.
You messing up my sleep while you over here doing jumping jacks. I'm trying to do jumping jacks and you back here.
Who told him we was late?
Come on, guys, let's do it.
I'm getting back. Me too.
I'm getting back on the field.
He's doing some stuff. I don't know if he was doing this in Seattle or not. Maybe he couldn't because the Legion of Boom was there and everything else in the beginning.
All jokes aside, I just really think it's odd. Let's just check in on what's going on over there. Anybody got some insight on what was really happening on that plane? Please let us know.
Yeah, please,
because that's absurd.
Oh my gosh! So we're getting a couple of comments coming in already. Before I get you with my why I'm mad this week, Ian Allison, massive fan, reaching all the way out from Scotland.
Ian Allison, what's up?
Stu.
Yo, what's up, Ian?
Appreciate you.
Glad you're watching us and listening to what we got to say.
Yeah.
We just over here just having a good time. Thanks for tuning in.
John B. Jenkins comments, y'all ready to witness the Walker Wonder this weekend?
Ooh, I like that name,
I like
John.
that. Yeah,
I like that, John. Walker Wonder. I call him peanut butter jelly, though.
Yeah. I want y'all help in getting witness the Walker Wonder trending. Who needs Mahomes magic? We got the Walker Wonder. I'm gonna give him one more game. I'm gonna give him one more game before we put ourselves out there like that. And if he comes out,
let's relax with Mahomes now. Mahomes magic is magic.
Calm down, just a second. I don't want to put PJ and Pat Mahomes in the same sentence just yet, but I'll be giving PJ the benefit of the doubt. Why am I mad this week?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why we mad, son.
I think it's the coverage of our win. I kept floating around a couple different things, but the way our coverage has gone, and I get it, and it's been the footprint of the Panthers since its existence. Like we don't get credit when we deserve the credit, and we get a lot of blame when sometimes we don't deserve the blame. But it felt like this entire week watching like Get Up or ESPN or SportsCenter or whatever, it felt like the story was more about how bad Tampa was as opposed to what we did to make them look bad. Like no one has really mentioned that the Panthers put together a pretty complete game and almost pitched a shutout on Tampa. Like that was one of the worst losses that Tom Brady's had in Tampa. Like I think maybe since he's been there. So to me, it was kind of odd that not odd. I kind of expected it a little bit, but
I understand.
You were on the 2015 team. Like that was probably the most disrespected 14-0 team I've ever seen in my life. Like they were like, this is the worst undefeated team of all time.
They're gonna forever hate when they're gonna hate. I think at the end of the day, I'd rather them not point out why we won because of how good of a game we played. So that way we just ride under the radar. We got the Falcons next week. At least the Falcons ain't reading papers about how good we are. At least they can go into this game thinking, they trash. Tampa was trash.
That's literally, everyone's just everyone's still like Panthers are horrible. The Panthers are horrible.
If they want to think that about us, then whatever. All I know is I'm wearing a Frankie Louvu jersey right now.
Yes, sir.
Because I feel it in my bones. I know he was on the injury report as questionable, but that's just how it goes. He'll be out there this weekend. I'm in good hopes about that. Yeah. But Frankie Louvu is about to have one of those games, and I can feel it.
I'm gonna try to pull up the injury report for this too. There's some more questions starting to come in here. Of course, it's an open mailbag day. Thursday's preview day here on the Bleav in Carolina Panthers podcast. We appreciate everybody that's beginning to find us as we become one of your more de facto spots to go for Panther news, not once but twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays, early afternoon. Mondays, we give you a recap of the game we just had. Thursdays, we give you a preview of what we had. And of course, we have we'll pull Adventures with Chris to the game on Sunday. Do they just keep with the same game plan, or do they let PJ open up a little bit more? That's a loaded question, Adventures with Chris. I'm not sure. I would think they would do it off of the team they're playing against. Here's the thing. The Falcons are like third or fourth in the league in rushing. They average like 160 yards a game on the ground. And I would imagine that Coach Wilkes would want to duplicate what we did last week. You know, what head coach doesn't want to have 170 yards rushing in a football game? Like
it definitely starts at the line of scrimmage. I can tell you that.
So I think they'll let PJ get his shots in. I don't think they're going to revert back to what we saw in the Rams game. Like, I think, again, we've gone through that enough. I think that was for a specific reason. But last week, I think, is kind of the prototype of what we probably could see going forward. Would they mix in maybe some RPO or something like that in there? Maybe. I can see that, you know. I
think Adventures with Chris, I guess your name is Chris. You know, what we saw last week was a little bit of like DNA. If I would say, who are the Panthers? We last week displayed who the Panthers are, and let's not do anything sexy. Let's just go out there, run the ball, pass it to the open guy, play defense, tackle, and run hard and block.
I agree. I mean, why
and special teams be special. I mean, our punter. My goodness. I mean, we average like 50 yards a punt or something like that.
Johnny Heckler in the house doing his thing.
Heckler, boy,
we got started Johnny Heckler fan club.
That's the next jersey I'm going to get.
Yeah.
You know, I got the Frankie Louvu because we got players that people don't know about, and people need to know about Frankie Louvu. People need to know about Johnny Heckler, man. Like, come on, man.
There was a juice with the defense last week. I think it coincided with Frankie Louvu being back. And I'll check on that injury report. Yeah, he just brings a little spark to it. And I love guys like that have been around the league a little bit, have bounced around. They find a home. They find a situation that works for them. And he's been a godsend, really, for this defense in terms of he's that same dude like Jeremy Chin to me. Like he's built that way, you know. So with Chin out, it's almost like the defense hasn't really missed too much of a beat. Now with both of them out a couple weeks ago, we could clearly sense it. But with Louvu back, it's been good. And then of course, you know, with John's question about PJ Walker, you know, apparently he's been saying this is his XFL days. Apparently PJ Walker tore it up in the XFL. For a year. I think he was league MVP or something like that for the year that they were up. And then the league fell apart and he latched on with Carolina, Matt Rule being his former college coach. So happy for my guy to get some consecutive weeks of prep. That's got to help his game improve. Talk about that for a little bit, Stu. I think it goes unnoticed sometimes, just being able to be that first string starter, getting those snaps in practice during the week and knowing you're going into the game as the starter, as opposed to replacing somebody in the third quarter because of injury or a bad play or whatever, or you find out Sunday morning, hey, you're the starter. Like, describe to me the difference in preparation from knowing you're going in as the guy in that spot to getting thrown into that position as the guy.
I mean, it's the confidence, right? The confidence is everything. And your brain is so powerful, right? You know, what you tell yourself in preparation through your experiences, you know, really like add up towards the end of the week. And if you have the opportunity to go into a week and say, hey, you're the starter, we need you this week to perform. Okay. So now every rep that I have, every film study that I have, I'm going into that with a purpose and an actual mentality that I'm going to go out there and make these things happen. You can prepare all you want to the hardest of your ability in the state of not knowing. Like, that's a whole different mentality. I don't care who you are. Like, if you don't know, you don't know what you don't know, and that's not a good place to be. At the end of the day, you want to. If I'm getting the ball, you better call the play. If the plays like if it's if we're out of the gun and we're gonna run a run play, please let me know so that way I don't go block.
Right.
It's like
Basic
if I
things.
it's basic things, basic fundamentals. Hey, if you're gonna if I'm going to start this game, the sooner you let me know, I will be able to prepare differently. I should always prepare to be the starter. I should always prepare like I am the starter. But my mind is so powerful that if you actually let me know that I'm the starter and I ain't got to think about whether or not I'm going to start or not, magical things can appear.
And I mean, it's just like a logical thing. Like, you gotta know what you're going to be doing. If in fact you're going to be doing it. I mean, that's basically what it comes down to in the end. So I wanted to pull up some more comments here as they're starting to flood in here on the side. Thanks, guys, paying attention to this over here on YouTube and on Facebook Watch. Let's go to spectator mode enabled. Stewie, I want to start a petition for Matt Rule to send back his camo training camp Panthers hat. He not worthy. Did you read the article on ESPN Plus that dropped yesterday? That was like an in-depth look in behind the scenes of the Panthers and the Matt Rule reign. From the look on your face, I don't think you might have seen it yet.
I did not. I
got it late last night. Shout out to the 4-Man Rush. Those that are Panther fans, y'all know who the 4-Man Rush is. Matter of fact, Kevin Avery will be on my Saturday morning show this Saturday. And it goes in depth from when Matt Rule was hired, and it has like anonymous comments from people in the building and all this stuff. And it goes through the whole 3 years of him trying to find a franchise quarterback. And it goes through all it basically throws Matt Rule out there as the end all decision maker when it came to personnel on this team the past 3 years. So basically they're saying he shot a shot with Teddy Bridgewater. That didn't work out. He fell in love with Sam Darnold, traded away draft picks. That didn't work out. Landed on Baker Mayfield. That hasn't worked out. He led the charge to try to bring Deshaun Watson here. Tepper was involved with that heavily as well. That didn't work out. So it kind of frames the whole thing of basically just 3 years of spinning our wheels because we couldn't get the quarterback position right, which we all knew. But this is really more in depth in terms of going into detail of how much he had his fingers on everything in the franchise. And while that might work in college, in the pros, it's not really necessary. And one of the excerpts from that story that I took and remembered more than anything else was that the first practice after the 49ers game, before he had been let go, they were going out there to do, I guess, routine 7-on-7 drills. And that's the start of the article. And it's talking about how the mood with the team, there was no jubilance, there was no juice, there was nothing. It was almost like a dreadful type of situation. I wish Schuyler was here because he could talk about that practice. But it was like people were missing catches, dropped balls, the balls were getting thrown all over the place. And I think the whole team was coming to a realization that they couldn't win football games without a quarterback. And the story was talking about how Rule and his assistants weren't saying anything. They were just standing on the sideline, just kind of watching the whole thing. And then when they had a meeting, Rule came in from the side door, started talking a little bit about everything, and then let them know that he had been let go. He wishes he could be there to watch them grow further, yada, yada, yada. So if you haven't seen it, you have to be a subscriber for ESPN Plus to get to it. It's added content on ESPN's site, but it's definitely worth it. Good read. Go check that out. Drew Irvin comments, TMJ, Terrence Marshall Jr. has been heating up since Robbie was traded. How much do you think Marshall becomes part of this game plan now that it's kind of opened up in front of him in terms of Robbie being gone?
I mean, we saw it last week. I mean, if they let him out the bag,
He's good.
It was good. He was a good receiver, and I'm excited to see, as he gets more opportunities. I feel like what you see in practice. If you go to a practice, PJ Walker's probably been throwing to TMJ, quite a bit.
That's a great point. That is an excellent point because they look like they had some chemistry.
Yeah, they look like they had a lot of chemistry. And when you talk about practice reps, if TMJ wasn't really taking first team reps, he was definitely getting reps, on scout team or whatever it is, with PJ over the time. And I feel like guys like that, when you have an opportunity for a quarterback like PJ. those are the moments where you see receivers come to life that you don't even know about. And unfortunately, TMJ, he's been kind of, hidden for the time he's been here. And I think this is an opportunity for him to just go out there and make the most of his opportunities. Got DJ Moore lined up out there. He's going to pull a lot of, attention. In the running game, as long as the running game continues to thrive, you're going to get a lot of good looks. And I expect, to see big things from him.
I just pulled up the injury report. There's a lot of Panther names on the injury report. Let me go through some of those real quick. Wednesday's practice. Now, this could change today. 3 players, Marquise Haynes, Taylor Moton, and Davion Nixon, are out due to illness. They did not practice on Wednesday. Mike Jordan had a day off for personal reasons. Chuba Hubbard, actually, was someone I'm concerned about with an ankle injury, which I think he suffered in that game Sunday towards the end there. He did not practice Wednesday. We do not know if he'll be available on Sunday. Dante Jackson's got an ankle injury. He had limited practice on Wednesday. Frankie Louvu's got a shoulder, limited practice for him. Laviska Shenault, which we've only seen one game since he came over from the Jaguars. He's been nursing a hamstring injury. He was limited at practice as well. Sean Chandler, Miles Hartfield, they both have hamstring issues. They were limited at practice. J.C. Horn's got the rib injury. He was out there for limited. And Corey Littleton, the inside linebacker, has got a groin injury. He was limited in practice. The Falcons only have 3 people. AJ Terrell, cornerback. I thought I just saw he's ruled out. On here, it shows on a hamstring. He did not practice Wednesday. Jalen Hawkins has a concussion, the free safety. He did not practice Wednesday. I'd imagine he would not play Sunday. And D. Alford, the defensive back, has a hamstring injury, and he had limited practice. So the Atlanta Falcons secondary sounds kind of banged up. That might be an opportunity for us to make something happen.
Yeah, I mean, same thing with Tampa, right? Tampa Bay's defense was banged up. It ain't our fault. So let's go out there and attack it.
What you looking at us for? We're just happy to be here. A couple things. You, my boy Blue, last week we did something we never did under rule. We established an identity. You touched on that on our Monday episode, that it was really the first time all year where it felt like the team knew what they were supposed to do, like what the goal was. Whereas previous games, it was almost like, let's just get out there and we prepped all week, but I don't know, let's just see what happens. It felt like they changed things on the fly sometimes. Last week was like this is what we're doing. Even if they figure out what we're doing, this is what we're doing. They got to stop it.
Yeah. And then, Panthers, Panthers video crew got into that locker room and gave everybody a really special look at, what it was like after that win in the locker room and everybody's emotion. But what you were able to see and listen to was the coach was talking about the game plan throughout the whole week. And it was as simple as control the line of scrimmage. And you did that.
Both sides.
On both sides.
It's going to win you football. Like we say it all the time. It don't matter what level it is. Pop Warner, high school, college, pro. If you can control the line of scrimmage, offense and defensively, stop the run the ball, you're going to win football games. Like I'm looking at the top of the rushing rankings right now in the NFL. Because I'm old school. Like I'd rather a team run the ball 30 times down a team's throat and just kind of make them bend. The Bears are averaging almost 200 yards a game on the ground, 181. The Giants 173. The Browns at 163. But we know how the Browns get down. Atlanta, like I said, they're 4th in the league in rushing, 156 yards a game. Baltimore, Lamar, Philly. You got the Saints in there. These are all teams that are kind of floating right there at the top of their respective divisions or whatnot.
And a lot of those quarterbacks, and a lot of those teams have quarterbacks that can run as well. So I mean,
yes, they're dual type quarterbacks.
Dual threat.
I'm curious to see if they do something like that with PJ. That would be the expansion I would expect in the offense going forward. If they start doing, hell, they were running RPO with Baker Mayfield earlier in the year. I mean, it's in the playbook. So I'd wonder if maybe they decide to do some of that. I know Schuyler did some of that in college as well. Actually, I guess some breaking news here. Paul Mancini chimes in. The Giants trade headache but talented wide receiver Kadarius Toney to the Kansas City Chiefs for a 2023 third and 6th round pick. That just broke a couple of minutes ago. So some breaking news here on the Bleav in Carolina Panthers podcast. Shout out to Paul Mancini for that. Another question here from Spectator Mode. I'm kind of digging this open mailbag. This is pretty cool. Do you think Rule should have gotten people like TMJ, Foreman, and PJ and Tribble more involved, or do you think their production is a product of their willingness to play for Coach Wilkes? It's a pretty good question.
I mean, that's a speculative question, but
Yeah.
but
I mean, they could control if they played or not. I think it was favorites.
I would say, Foreman. I've always been a fan of, get Foreman some carries. Even when Christian was here, he seems like a change of pace guy, and a strong runner in between the tackles, as we saw this past weekend. It would have been nice to see him early. Trimble, I think we tried to, coordinate some throws his way early on, and just didn't really pan out execution wise. I think, those two guys definitely. TMJ, PJ, I think that's just, credit to Coach Wilkes, seeing their potential, and obviously PJ with the situation at quarterback. But I really think that there's a willingness to play that you're seeing from all the players across the board for Coach Wilkes, because like I said, it's all about culture, man. And if you don't have the culture of winning, and if you're not a true, believer in that, guys can sniff that out, a mile away. So
I think too, the team realized last week that the season's not over and that they hit a reset button. Like, I think the team feels like they're 1-0, and they're just going to basically, what happened before we saw, what we did last week, that don't matter anymore. We can basically control our season from this point on, and we're 1-0. And let's establish who we are, what we're about to do. Because I do think that they are in with Steve Wilkes. I feel like they are in bed with Steve. They want Steve Wilkes to remain as the head coach, because it almost looks like a weight's been lifted. Like they look like they're freer. They're enjoying football now. And I go back to that ESPN article. When I read it, there is some speculation in there, and it's anonymous people in the building. You know how that goes. They're saying this, that, or whatever. And it's the guy that just left. It almost puts it all on Matt Rule. But on one hand, it's like, I don't want to do that. On the other hand, I know he had a lot of control over the personnel and what these guys were doing. So it kind of makes a lot of sense. And actually, it reminded me of a comment David Tepper had mentioned in that press conference after he had let him go, where he was like, for the next coach, I need to make sure that the coach and the general manager are more aligned with each other, and that each have separate roles as opposed to, whatever, which to me alluded to the fact that he felt like he gave Matt Rule too much power. And that was for someone that didn't have the ability to harness that or had the experience to do it. And that's why he did it when he did it. So, I don't know. With PJ's here because of Matt Rule. PJ wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for Matt Rule. So I can't say that that Rule wasn't more involved with him. The others, Deonta Foreman, Terrence Marshall Jr., Matt Rule's responsible for bringing them here. Now, how he used them is a completely different animal altogether. But I think it's just more the team itself collectively is starting to think more as a team as opposed to individual players playing on a team under the Rule regime. So that's a good question there. We'll see if that's correct, because I could have just said all that, and then Sunday they come out and and play completely different from what we expect, and I'm just like, oh, okay, here we go. So I don't expect that. I really don't expect that to happen. We went through the injury report. Let's get into the preview here real quick, and you guys keep giving us these questions while we're doing this. While we're on, we'll answer the questions on air, and maybe we start doing open mailbag Thursday, especially when Schuyler comes back. If you just joined us, Schuyler Callahan from Sports Illustrated, he's not with us today. He won't be with us next week because our boy's getting married on Saturday. So he's in the middle of wedding preparations and whatnot. Shout out to him and his lovely fiance. He will be back week after next. So he'll be back actually to preview the next Falcons game, because we play him twice in 3 weeks. So he'll be back for that. Let's hit some of this here. Sunday, October the 30th, 1 p.m. on Fox. Panthers 2-5 on the season. The Atlanta Falcons 3-4 on the season. It's a road game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Carolina is 20-34 all time against the Falcons. The Falcons have a 1-game win streak against the Panthers. Carolina has won 2 games in a row in Atlanta, but the Falcons own the all-time record at home, 19-8. Statistically, they kind of like the same team. Although Atlanta rushes for about 50 yards more than Carolina. Granted, Carolina's just now kind of figuring out what to do with their run game. Passing yards, I mean, literally, it looks like I'm looking at the same team. Carolina, 169 yards a game. Atlanta, 151 yards a game. Atlanta's second to last in the entire league in passing, so keep that in mind. Third down efficiency, they're actually pretty good. Third down efficiency, Stu, 44.2% on third down. That's fifth in the entire league.
Yeah, because they're running the ball really good.
They're running the ball, yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of third and twos probably in there. Third and ones that they're able to accomplish with points per game. They're averaging 23.3 per game. That's 12th in the league. We're at 17. That's tied for 26. Defensively, they're allowing 100 yards on the ground. That's fifth in the league. We're allowing 120. They're allowing 306 yards passing and on defense. That is dead last in the league. So they're allowing the most passing yards per game, which is interesting because it makes me wonder, do we change up what we want to do to take advantage of that? Plus, what I just said before with the injury report, a lot of Atlanta's secondary is banged up. So would you switch it up a little bit, let PJ throw it a little bit more, or do you stick to what we did last week and keep running this rock and let PJ throw it when we see some shots?
I mean, I will say, that number might be a little skewed, from the standpoint they played Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals last week.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So I think he threw for like 450. I think he threw for like 450 or something like that. 3 tugs. And I was really happy about that. So appreciate you. Shout out to my boy Demir Bird, Atlanta Falcons. He had a touchdown catch, long one. Former Panther. I don't think we need to change too much. I
want to see them go run game for run game. I want to see that
for run game. And I think at the end of the day, one of the things that stood out was third down conversions, right? Like, what can you convert? How can you extend, the offensive time on the field? If we can keep the defense there, if we can keep their defense on the field, that's when we'll attack them in the passing game. So stay on the field, stay, manageable, stay patient. We ain't got to go out there and go lights out in this passing mode, just because PJ had a great game last week. I think you just stay within yourself. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You can add some stuff to it, but there's no need to go and just get all amped up, in the offensive coordinating, shadows. So run that rock.
I agree. And I want to, maybe some of it'll depend on the availability of Chuba Hubbard, because I like the idea of a two-headed monster. Although Deonta can handle it, by himself.
He did it. I mean, listen, that's right. That's why we brought him here. You bring guys in. The mentality of a guy carrying a position, carrying the running back position is, we brought you here because you could potentially carry the load. And so if Chuba Hubbard is out, Foreman, this is your dream come true. Okay, you get to go out there and get the ball a lot. So
show out, man.
Show out. I'm excited about it.
Their defense is allowing 100 yards rushing per game. And I always said, if we can get to 100 yards rushing in a game, then we got a shot. We can get to like 150, we're probably going to win that football game. And that should be the goal. 150 combined rushing yards, because that means we're controlling the clock, we're controlling we're moving chains, the time of possession, we're going at our pace. It's opening up other stuff like play action and things of that nature for PJ. I wouldn't be surprised if they roll out a little RPO in this game. If Chuba's not available, I could see them doing a little RPO action with PJ and Deonta. So we'll see how they come about doing that. I'm just poking around on the preview here to see if there's anything that we need to know. This season, actually, it's pretty cool. I thought I heard him mention this on the broadcast Sunday. Carolina's only allowed 13 points scored in the first quarter. That's tied for first in the entire league. They've scored a defensive touchdown and allowed just 5.3 yards per pass attempt in the first 15 minutes. That's good for third in the league. Ike Ekwonu has not allowed a sack over the last 5 games and has a pass blocking rating of 98.2. It's 8th among offensive tackles. This is a rookie, y'all. He's playing for NC State this time last year. His run block grade is 80.6. That's 5th amongst offensive tackles. That was a good pick. That was a good pick. And Bradley Bozeman made his first start on Sunday too.
So a friend of mine texted me this. Shout out to Jonathan Wiley. According to Next Gen Stats, Icky ran 317 yards of 6.6 plus miles per hour last week. Third most among offensive linemen. He also had the fewest yards walking among any offensive lineman. You want to know what that guy is? He's a dog. Yeah. That boy is a workhorse. My man is out there. My boy is out there doing his job. So all the offensive linemen, take note and follow suit, because that's what we got to do this week. We got to run that rock. I ain't playing with nobody. We're about to go in, bro. We like tonight. Oh, tonight, Tampa Bay. They got. I don't know what Tom gonna do. They better get that running game going.
They run 60 yards a game.
Man, listen, the offensive line, they better throw them check downs, because if they don't, we're gonna be number uno in the division.
So let's frame that. So if Tampa loses tonight and we beat the Falcons, we will wake up on Monday morning in first place in the NFC South.
Yeah.
So it's just go get
your Krispy Kremes on Victory Monday.
Yes.
I'm gonna go ahead and call it right now. Frankie Louisville's gonna probably have a pick 6. Because they're gonna try to do that RPO, and he's gonna read it right, and he's gonna check down on somebody and gang. Give me that.
PJ 3-1 as a starter. Best career performance this past Sunday. Passer rating 126.5, if I'm not mistaken. That's the highest you can have. Third best passer rating of any quarterback last week, or it's close to it. His PFF grade of 94.9 led all qualified players in the NFL last week. 72% completion percentage last week, and he wasn't just throwing 5 yards here, 5 yards there. He was throwing down the field a little bit too. So excited to see what PJ can do with Ben McAdoo, the offensive coordinator, as they open up this playbook more and more. And shout out to Bradley Bozeman, who made his first start at center on Sunday. We got him from the Ravens in the offseason. Pat Elflein, the starting center, got hurt. He's been put on IR. Bozeman's going to be your starting center for the rest of the year. He had an overall grade of 93.2 from Pro Football Focus. That was the best among all centers in the league in week 7. And like I said, the offensive line played the best game they played all year on Sunday. And I think Bozeman had a lot to do with it. So if they found a center, you know how it is. You play with Ryan Khalil. When you got a center that can be the quarterback of that line, it's the brain. Complete difference. Yeah, it's the brain of the line.
It's the brain of the offense, in my opinion.
And if you don't have that, then it's just hard. It's hard to move the rock. It's hard to believe in them, and things start to fall apart. You're starting to see a foundation with that offensive line that I think is going to create huge things for the Panthers. Man, I'm just excited. I'm excited. I was going in the past couple of weeks was low, man. Like I'm telling folks, yo, we got to do 2 podcasts a week on this craziness. Like we don't know what we're going to talk about. And now
Panther fans should be really excited.
It's a reset.
Yeah, it's a reset. And let's just stack the wins, and let's just stay positive. And let's just support our Panthers.
I already know who you're going to pick. I don't know in what manner they're going to get there, but let's go ahead and put our predictions in real quick before we get out of here. Panthers versus Falcons, 1 p.m. kickoff on Fox this Sunday. Prediction time. Stu, what you got? Give me what's going to happen here on Sunday.
Well, Panthers going to win, and I'm not even going to give you a score. I'm going to give you enough to 3. That's how much they're gonna score.
Enough to 3.
enough. Meaning, I don't know how much we're gonna score, but they're gonna have 3 points. That's what's gonna be the end of that's gonna be the result on their side. I feel like
they're gonna win by 3.
No, we're gonna win this game.
Yeah,
but they're gonna have 3 points.
They're going. So they're gonna score at least 3.
They're gonna score 3. But we're gonna win this game. I just feel like our defense is really about to hone in, because they're a running team, right? Coming into this game, they're a running team.
Yep.
What was the message last week? Stop the run, right? What we do, stop the run. If they can only depend on the running game, that means they're going to be 3 and out because we're going to stop the run. And so like that. That's just my opinion. I just feel like we'll probably have like 30 points, 30, 31, 28.
Oh, okay.
I feel like DJ Moore gonna
28-3?
find it. Yeah. Let's go 28-3. There it is. He walked me into it. 28-3.
It felt like that's where you were going down the hallway.
No, I just didn't really give all these numbers and stuff. But 28-3 is good enough for me. I just feel like DJ Moore is gonna have 2 touchdowns. I feel like we're gonna have a pick 6, and I feel like Foreman gonna be in the end zone. So I mean,
I like it. I'm kind of on the same vein. I'll give the Falcons 10 points. They'll get a touchdown somewhere in the game and a field goal. But I think we're on a 24-point type tip, especially if we're going to run the ball and kind of control the clock. I'll go 24-10 Carolina. This is the game where Get Up and First Take and Undisputed and all these talking head shows in the mornings on the weekdays. After this game, this is the game where people are going to start looking at Carolina going, what's going on in Carolina? Like, what's happening over there? Like, what's Steve Wilkes doing that's so different from what Matt Rule was doing? If we win in the fashion I think we'll win and open Monday morning in first place in the NFC South with a fairly manageable schedule in front of us.
I'm going to have a cup of coffee. We might want to do our podcast Monday morning.
Yeah. Last time we did that, a player got traded like 30 minutes after we were done. So I'm reluctant because the trade deadline is November 1st. So literally,
I ain't worried about no trades. We already done with all that. Look,
oh God,
we're gonna be all right.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm going 24-10. Carolina with the win moves to 3-5 on the season. They take over first place because I'm also going to predict that Tampa's going to lose tonight. I just don't trust the Buccaneers the way they look right now. They just look like they're kind of.
Remember, I told y'all
falling apart. Like they just. Ugh.
Tampa is hurting right now, man.
Sonny DeVizio, I see you with that Louisville jersey, Stu. I'll see your pick 6 and say he's going to get a sack too.
I love it, Sonny.
Yeah, I believe that could happen. Right before we get out of here, though, I wanted to answer Raheem's question. He came in a little late. Need help, Panther fans? Who do pick up between Foreman and Hubbard? Assume for fantasy. I know Foreman's a little banged up, but looking past this week, who's the better option for the reason of the season? Foreman. I mean, didn't Foreman start? Foreman started on Sunday, right? And then Hubbard was coming in relieving. So I would probably go with Foreman. Hubbard is got an ankle injury, so that's going to keep him limited for at least a week or two, I would imagine, depending on the severity of it. He hurt it in that game. So I would probably choose Foreman, Raheem. He's going to get a bunch of carries as long as he can stay healthy. And he said reason for the season, my bad. So, yeah, we would probably go with Foreman on that. So we're both picking Carolina to win.
28-3 from me.
28-3. I got 24-10. We're also a bonus prediction. Carolina will be in first place when we wake up Monday morning. It's pretty wild the turn of events that has happened in the past 3 weeks in Charlotte.
Just always remember, Jonathan Stewart told you so.
He picked them to go 10. I picked 11. I picked them to win. I don't think they're going to be able to do that, but 10 wins is still in the realm of possibility. 10 wins the division. Easy.
In January, I'm going to go somewhere and watch the games in the playoffs at Wild Wings or something like that. Y'all were more than welcome to join the bandwagon if y'all fell off.
We might have to plan something and do something at the end of the if they get in the playoffs and something like that, we might have to all meet in Concord or something and just find a Buffalo Wild Wings and go to town.
Or Dave and Buster's.
There's Dave and Buster's right there, Concord Mills. So we might be able to do something like that. I got a bowling alley in there too. I was just in there earlier this summer with my family.
Somebody go out there and make some shirts that say Walker Wonder.
Witness the Walker Wonder. If you heard it here first on the Bleav in Carolina Panthers podcast, witness the Walker Wonder. Get it stuck in your head. It's gonna keep pounding y'all. So we're gonna see what happens. I might show up one day with a Witness the Walker Wonder t-shirt on this podcast. Yeah. We'll see.
I know some guys at 704 Shop, Glory Days Apparel. Y'all need to go ahead and get them Witness the Walker Wonder shirts made.
Hey. Now PJ got to do his part. PJ got to show out again. Like we can't make him off of one game. Like that's not how this works.
Yeah. You're right.
Keep it going. John, we're gonna put a pin in it. We're gonna see what he does on Sunday, and then if PJ comes out balling, Hey, I'm with it. I'm totally with it.
Peanut
Well,
butter
that's
jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time.
Panthers Falcons 1 p.m. Sunday on Fox. Thanks everybody for joining us for the Thursday edition. We might make this open mailbag a regular thing. This was pretty fun.
Yeah.
We'll be back Monday afternoon, 2:30 on Mondays. We'll be back with the live edition for this. For Jonathan Stewart, I'm Desmond Johnson. You've been watching and listening to the the Bleav in Carolina Panthers podcast on Bleav Podcast Networks. Keep pounding.
Good job, man.